Sarnia, I'm Katie Horvath. This is called Into the City. I'm here today with Gail White. Gail's running for the next municipal election in 2018. She would like to be a Sarnia City Councillor. So thanks for coming in today to chat with me, Gail.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. So for those who haven't yet had a chance to chat with you, I'm just wondering if you could let us know a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I am a Sarnia resident and I have been here for 28 years. I like to say that Sarnia adopted me and I adopted them. I love the city of Sarnia. I raised my family here. I'm a graduate from Lambton College. I took the mechanical technology program. They honored me with the Governor General's Award for academics and community service, so that was pretty wonderful.
Yeah, good for you.
And I got a great job in the Valley, which I love, and it's challenging and exciting, and I work with really great people.
That's awesome. So why did you decide to run for council this year?
In a space of 4 years, I lost four very close family members, one of which was my daughter. And so through that process of grieving, I discovered that I could not only survive something like that, but I actually became a better person. So when a friend of mine at church asked me if I would consider running for council, I thought about all the things that I had learned working in an oil refinery, all the skills that I have, and I just thought that that was the challenge that I was looking for. I want to do something meaningful with my life, especially wanting to memorialize my family and honor them in that way.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. So what is it about you, and now you could take this personally, you kind of touched on a little bit, you could take it professionally. What is it about you that you believe would let you be a good representative for the people of Sarnia?
I have an analytical mind. I'm research oriented, so I think that using those skills to really dig into contracts and things like that will be useful. I also have a compassionate nature. I organize a Christmas memorial service at church. I have been a foster mom for CAS, and it's been a privilege and an honor to help people going through grief like I went through, and also keeping in touch with some of the children that came through my home.
Wow. Okay, great. So this next part in the interview, I'd like to just kind of get your thoughts, general thoughts about the current council. So the first question is, what are some things that you feel that the current council did well in this past term?
I have been reading the strategic plan for 2018 and beyond, and it's really quite impressive to me how much they actually have done that I probably didn't realize. They've increased accessibility. We have mitigated the horrible mess at Centennial Park. I know there were some hiccups there, and it came at a great cost, but that kind of mitigation does come at a great cost. We have also installed a whole bunch of bike lanes that I think is just absolutely wonderful. We have decreased the budget, the deficit. I think we need to do some more work in that regard and balance that with spending our money in a good place.
Right. Okay. So on the topic of Centennial, that was, as you said, there was a lot of great work that was done, but there was some, I guess you would say, criticism, it taking a long time, it was over budget, that kind of stuff. So if you are elected, how would you be able to kind of guarantee some oversight? And if a project begins to go over budget, how would you approach that?
I think it's really difficult when things come up and you don't have a great project manager. I think I would like to see someone really oversee the project. I'm not sure that I am a project manager, but I think that there's somebody that would be willing to take care of that, and I think that would be really important. There are sometimes just things just come up. Asbestos abatement is a huge cost, and you have to be careful to protect the workers that are doing the work, as well as be mindful of the budget.
Right.
And I think a great project manager would do that well.
Okay, and as a staff member, not specifically council, but as a staffer on the project?
I believe that would work. Yeah,
okay.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, just clarifying. So there's one more specific question that I have about the kind of current council term, and then we'll move into your campaign specifically. So this was a big change this year in terms of e-voting and telephone voting as well, and the removal of paper ballots. There's, again, two sides of that story. Some are very positive, some are not so happy about the change. Could you comment on that decision to move to e-voting this year?
I will be honest, I at first had some concerns,
Mm-hmm.
and I've heard a lot of other people say that they are afraid that the senior vote will not come in as well as it normally has.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to a candidate session, an information session, and I was really impressed with the things that they had to say. Apparently more seniors will vote than before. They can use an iPad. They may not know how the iPad works, but they can use one.
Mm-hmm.
They will also be taking iPads or computers into homes. I've seen the platform. It's very easy to read. You click on a button, you go to the list, you click them off.
Mm-hmm.
There's even a way to destroy your ballot if you want to make a political protest, excuse me. I really was excited about that. I'm really kind of pleased that more people will join. And the great thing is, if you are away from home, you can still vote.
Yes.
You don't have to be there. I personally love going to a polling station.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if I were away and I missed it, that would be a great tragedy. And now that is open, you get a PIN number and you also enter your birth date.
Mm-hmm.
So they know it's you. There's very little chance of fraud. I think it's great.
All right. Yeah, great. So for this portion, I just want to get into a little bit more about the specifics of yourself and your campaign and what issues you feel are important. So we'll start this part with, what do you think are the 3 most important issues that the city of Sarnia is facing?
The 3 most important issues.
I'm sure there's more, but if you want to just pick 3.
Yeah, I was trying to think as I was talking. One would be budget.
Mm-hmm.
I am familiar with doing work based on risk. So I think that approach might be helpful in our deliberations, looking at the big picture, where should we spend our money, and then digging into the details about if we award a contract and something goes wrong, what are the potential problems that could go wrong and how do we have contingency for that? So that's 1.
Right.
2 is accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we now have all of our transit buses are accessible to those people who would need some extra help.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's wonderful. We have more caravan buses, and I'd like to see that ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. In accessibility, I put the bike lanes in with that, and I know I've spoken about that already. I have 2 family members that cannot drive. They're not allowed to drive for medical reasons. And so those bike lanes now allow them to travel on busy streets like Russell
Mm-hmm.
and Colburn Road without the risk of having traffic maybe clip them.
Mm-hmm.
My neighbor was hit by a car on his bicycle, and it was horrible. So I'm really glad that we've done that.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those things lead into accessibility.
Right.
And I think the other thing, and a lot of people talk about this, is harmony. How can we be a harmonious group?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I have experience with where I work. I work at Suncor. When people come together and work as a team, it's like magic.
Mm-hmm.
In our groups, we bring all the data to the meetings. We discuss it openly, honestly, respectfully,
Mm-hmm.
and we come to a decision on solutions together.
Mm-hmm.
Then we take that as one team,
Mm-hmm.
present it to the stakeholders, and everybody supports the decision.
Right.
Whether you were on the side of that or not, once the decision is made, we all move forward together as a team, and I love that. So I would like to bring that to council.
Great. Okay, thank you. So could you tell me a little bit more about your platform and some of the other issues that you're trying to bring about into your campaign?
I've already spoken about some of those, but I also know that our youth are in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard several young people say that they have asked for help and it hasn't been there. Or some people that I know with addictions that just can't seem to break through the system, and I would like to investigate how to make that better. I know we have a great team already at the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes when people go there, there's no bed.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going there crying for help and trying to not do something tragic,
Mm-hmm.
but being turned away is very, very difficult, especially when you're in a really dark time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's definitely an epidemic in our
Oh, for
city.
sure, for sure.
Yeah. So on the topic of youth, we've got kind of a retention problem with keeping some of the youth and younger adults in our city. What are your thoughts on that issue?
That's a tough one because, I mean, as an older person, I raised my family here. Sarnia is a great place for family.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do to retain the youth? They want to do something fun. They want to do something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we could bring people in, but we need to advertise better. We have some wonderful videos that they have already made, and I think that's a great stride. I think it's called Live, Work, Play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's wonderful. I would like to see us take that into universities and advertise better. I met a young lady last night. Her and her husband came for 2 years. And 11 years later, they have 2 children, and they're settled, and they're never going to leave.
Yeah.
So we need to get them in, and we need to give them something to do while they're here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, just maybe sharing with other people what we really do have a little bit.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. We have lots of wonderful things here.
I agree. So picture our city in the future,
Mm-hmm.
and not just for the 4-year term if you're elected, but I'm talking the next decade or so.
Right.
And what do you envision for our city over the next couple decades?
Gosh, I already think Sarnia is great, so that's a really tough question. I think I would like us to clean up some of the aging assets. I know Jackson Pool is a bone of contention, and I've spoken to a lot of people about that. What I didn't realize when I did more investigation, they weren't filling all the swimming classes at Jackson Pool. The repairs were getting worse and worse. The repairs were not getting worse and worse. The pool was getting worse because we couldn't do the proper repairs.
Right,
so we decided as an overall plan that the swimming classes would be moved to Tecumseh Pool, which I think was a good thing. I would just like to see us continue to take care of Canatera Park, maybe do something down at Centennial Park. I would like to see patios downtown.
Mm-hmm.
If we get that senior residence in the Bayside Mall,
Mm-hmm.
an apartment building, then it would be really nice to have summer patios where we took up 2 parking spaces, extended the patio to the curb, and then made a walkway. I've seen it in other cities. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
We should look at that.
Yeah.
Because we have a great downtown, and if you bring people downtown to eat, then they'll come and they'll shop and they'll do other things. And revitalizing the main core would be a great thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Great idea. So what could we expect if you were elected? What kind of councillor would you be, and what could we expect in your service? Again, you can take that personality, or bringing in your professional career as well.
Yeah. I think part of my professional career is part of who I am. There are very high stress times in an oil refinery where you have to be calm, cool, and collected, look at the evidence, decide on a path forward, and work together as a team. And I think that kind of approach will be good in council. I get along with all kinds of different people. I work with all kinds of personalities, and it's a really great thing when it works well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I just have a question about conflict, because there has been some conflict over the last term between some councillors and also between staff and the political wing. So my question is, when conflict does arise, how do you approach it?
I think you always have to remember at the center of your being that people are people first. And to be respectful and open and honest, and maybe take a moment to think, why are they reacting in such a way if you find it offensive? Because it may not be what you think it is. There's all kinds of things happening inside someone and inside someone's own personal world that should be taken into account. So I think just a calm approach, taking a moment to think about what they've said, maybe why they've said it, and then respond kindly and truthfully.
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
So this is something that I had mentioned before. I asked this to everybody. Massive list of candidates. Some of us are struggling who we should vote for.
Right.
So why should I vote for you?
Well, first of all, I'm a W. I'll be number 28 on the list. I definitely have a heart for service. I'm not doing this out of pride to say, oh, I'm a city councillor. That's not me at all. I really wanted to be a servant. I think that's really who I am at the core, but I'm also analytical, and I take my time to do research, and I like to be sure of what I'm saying before I say it.
Right.
And I think that will serve Sarnia well. And I'd like to hear from you. So if you have any questions for me, please let me know.
Okay, that's great. So that's kind of it for questions that I've got for you. But I do want to give you the opportunity here, if there's something that I may have missed, something that you'd specifically like to let people know, just what's kind of your final message for the people of Sarnia?
My final message, I guess it really comes down to really one short thing. I have a scientific mind, and I have the heart of a servant. And if I can serve you on City Council, and you could please let me know what you need or what you want, and I will do my best to fulfill that for you.
All right. Another great answer.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So this has been Gail White. Again, if you like what Gail has to say, the polls open online October 11th through to October 22nd, the actual election day. She's looking to be your next city councillor. So please get out there and vote. Thank you very much for watching. Gail, thank you very much for coming to speak with me.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And we'll see you next time, Sarnia.